Dallas tonight, but it won't be easy against Luka Doncic. See him there, and the Mavericks team is fighting to stay out of that play-in tournament in the West. Dallas is on a back-to-back and will not have Porzingis tonight. He is being rested due to injury management. And with that, we welcome you here to Sixers Pregame Live, brought to you by Cadillac. Amy Fadul and Mark Jackson taking you right up to tip-off out in Dallas. And there are few things more fun in basketball than watching an elite offensive player going head-to-head with an elite defensive player. That's what we get every time Luka Doncic matches up with one Ben Simmons. So, Mark, do you have your popcorn ready? I'm asking you, my friend.
Yes, I do. I have my popcorn ready. I have my Coke Zero. It's going to be very good to watch one of the best offensive players against the best defensive player in the league.
Yes, and this one has maybe not gone the way a lot of people might think. In their 3 career matchups, it hasn't been a large sample, but a sample size nonetheless. Ben Simmons' defense has given Luka major problems. Let's take a look at these numbers. The shooting percentages don't lie. Luka under 32% from the field going against Ben, right at 29% from 3, averaging 4 turnovers. He had 7 turnovers in the Sixers' victory over Dallas back in February. Look at that, 17.3 points a game. That's the lowest Luka has against any team in his young career. So why does Luka have so many problems against the Sixers, specifically Ben Simmons?
Amy, listen, he's going against Ben Simmons, who's all of 6'10", and quick like a cat and strong like a bull. So he can't use his shoulders to get into Ben, because Ben's not going nowhere. He's not going to out-quick Ben, so he's not going around him. And then when it comes to the pick and roll, which is Luka is phenomenal at using, Ben is such a ferocious chase down guy. Like, he's going to get over that pick and contest your shot. And Luka have a problem getting his shot off versus Ben.
How much does Ben really get up for this specific matchup? Because everybody knows what a high-powered offense Luka really brings to the table. Ben understands, like, Luka is the future of this league. And you know he can't do nothing on you, so you get hyped for every time you meet them, because true competitors want to play against the best, especially when you're slowing down the best. You've seen those matchups. Do those numbers surprise you, even seeing them on paper, 17 points? It does, because why? Yeah, you might get a good shutdown one day versus a guy, but to keep doing it consistently, saying you have this guy's number. And when you have a player's number, like, you pretty much go home with them, because you're in their head, and no matter what game they're about to play next, they think about playing against you and how you shut them down. It gets personal. Yeah, it definitely is going to have that lingering effect. You know, Luka heard all of the talk about Ben Simmons locking him down, as Mark's mentioned there in that last meeting. Do you think Luka's going to have some tricks up his sleeve? Because you said there, he's still thinking about it. There's no way he looks at the tape of this and be like, oh, yeah, he remembers. Listen, Amy, I'm going to give you a perfect example. Me personally, my first couple of years in the league, especially when I was at Golden State, when I was really getting off, I couldn't do anything with David Robinson, who was on his last 1 or 2 years. It got to the point, I remember my good buddy Malik Rose, who was playing with him, was like, yo, they asked me in film session what they do to stop you, and I just come to you a bull, and David said, don't worry, I have him. So the first game, I couldn't, I think I was like 2 for 10, 2 for 12, like I couldn't do anything. So by the time the 4th meeting, I said, oh, you know what, just give me the ball, I'm going to back you down, I'm going to throw it out, shoot the quick 3, and I get position for the rebound. The last game I played against, the only game I reached double figures. I mean, so sometimes you got to find little tricks to outdo the guy that's in your head mentally. And it was a mental thing. Malik didn't give any little Philly inside tips? No, Malik was just calling me laughing after David shut me down. He was like, got you. Yeah, he knew that David Robinson, the Hall of Famer, was going to do more than, I think, well enough. Exactly. But I like they called Malik. You're a good old Philly buddy there. Well, despite his issues against the Sixers, no denying Luka's greatness at a young age. I mean, this guy is second all-time, 30-point triple-doubles before even turning 22, 7 behind Oscar Robertson, well ahead of LeBron James. Look at these numbers. These are crazy. I mean, he's got 16 of them. He just turned 22 February 28th. He's got time to catch Oscar Robertson, something that you would never think would happen, with 23 30-point triple-doubles. I mean, holy smokes. What goes through your mind when you see what Luka's already done when he just turned 22? He's 22, Amy, and he's behind Oscar Robertson. We could talk about how good guys are. We could talk about how much they score. But when you are 22 years old and you're behind Oscar Robertson, you still got a year to go. It just lets you know his greatness. He might catch him. I mean, we've seen the hype in Europe. We've seen the hype his rookie year. And it went from being hyped to just facts. This is who he is. He's a dominant player in his game, and he's a special talent this game has ever seen. And he continues to people keep scheming for him, but he continues to keep proving anything you have for me, I'm going to conquer, except for the question of Ben Simmons.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we will not get to see, unfortunately, Joel Embiid match up against Kristaps Porzingis tonight. The Mavericks star is being rested for injury management.
Boo.
I'm guessing the Sixers. I know. Sixers are probably fine with this, but you said it, Boo. When Brian Brendan, our producer, told me this in the newsroom, I said, this is why we can't have nice things. Like,
yes.
We've never seen Luka and Porzingis go against the Sixers. It's never happened since Porzingis arrived there. How bummed are you that we don't get to see that tonight?
I'm bummed when I don't see elite talent battle against other elite talent. You know, you got Porzingis, who's, they called him the unicorn. He's 7'3" or whatever, but his skill is like a 6'6" guard. He's long, he's lanky, he can hit the three, he can put it on the floor, he can shoot over you. It's just good to watch him play. When you see somebody like that, and you see Joel, like, oh man, this is gonna be good. Mm-hmm. And then he sits out, you're like, oh, here we go again. I mean, lower management, who cares?
Yeah, well, they did have the back-to-back. We're going to talk about how their game went last night.
But he played in other back-to-backs, so that's why I'm like, oh, he doesn't want to play against Joel. Not saying that's what it is, but that's what it is.
It could be. I mean, he's very physical, and I know that Joel Embiid certainly would love to match up against him. You said the unicorn with Porzingis. Joel Embiid is his own kind of unicorn, right? He looked super athletic on Saturday night in Oklahoma City. Easy 27 points. How nice was it to see him just flying around, not settling for those jumpers that we saw the previous game in New Orleans, and really being aggressive.
It was good because I thought the previous game versus the Pelicans, he didn't have that pop to him. He didn't have that quick twitch of fibers going that game. He just seemed to be out of it and a little fatigued. It seemed like he had his energy back and was ready to put the task, and he did. He had his way versus OKC.
That last bucket, it was going against Tony Bradley. You could see Ben Simmons on the bench just shake his head and clap, because that's what you have to do sometimes. When he does some of the moves, you're thinking, there's no way you can't guard this guy.
Look at that move. He beats his guy with a good dribble. A guard goes to take a charge. He jumps to sideways, and we call it a jelly roll, and jelly rolled him into the basket. He's so agile to be so big. And the thing that makes it even more impressive is he's not a frail guy, Amy. He's a well-built dude. He's big. So to see him move like that, it's like a dancer, a big guy dancing on the floor. He's just got great footwork.
Yeah, he's very fluid out there when you watch his game. Well, tonight is the finale of this 4-game road trip, but you can also look at it as the beginning of the toughest remaining regular season stretch for the Sixers. After tonight's game in Dallas, the Sixers return home to face the Nets, Clippers, Warriors, and Suns. Then they go to Milwaukee for 2 games. Besides the Warriors, all of these opponents are at least 6 games over 500. So, Mark, how big would it be to get the win tonight, because you see what's looming as soon as you get back home? Nets and Clips waiting up.
So you know the phrase, they say take it one game at a time. This gauntlet of schedule right here, these games you see, is the facts. They can't help but take it one game at a time, because even though Porzingis is not playing, Dallas is really getting themselves on the ball. And mainly, Jalen Brunson. He's a big reason they've been having much success in turning the tide a little bit. So you can't look past Dallas, because you know what they've been doing to other opponents. You start to think about the Nets, you're done before the game even jump ball. You got to concentrate on now, get the momentum going to every game.
Does it help that they just had that stinker of a game against the Pelicans, when something might kind of creep up in the back of their mind, or Doc Rivers sees something saying, guys, we just did this against New Orleans, we can't let it happen again?
Absolutely, Amy. You get humbled. You need reminders. You need a refresher course. And I'm quite sure Doc said, listen, we've been up in a lonely OKC, but you happened the game before that. Remember, Joel, you ain't show up, like literally, like you didn't give us nothing. Look, remember what you did here, Ben? Remember these things? Tobias, what you give? These are check marks that every time you just need to throw a reminder, bing, put on the board. Remember this. We need to bat the hatches. We need to come out and play hard from the jump. And to me, as an opponent on the other team's floor, it felt great. It felt great to get them good when they're on their own home floor. So use that as momentum.
Absolutely. Well, we do want to tell you Brooklyn's scheduled game in Minnesota against the Timberwolves has been postponed in the aftermath of the fatal police shooting yesterday of Dante Wright, a 20-year-old black man, during a traffic stop yesterday afternoon in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. The Minnesota Twins and Minnesota Wild have also postponed their games that were scheduled for this evening. Sixers head coach Doc Rivers was asked for his thoughts on the police shooting prior to tonight's game. Here's what he had to say.
I'm saying it's frustrating for all Black Americans. I think we should be frustrated by all Americans. I don't know if it was a mistake or not. I saw the video, the body cam video, like everyone else. But I just know the frustration is a real thing for everybody and for us. And, you keep hearing this cancel culture stuff, but, we're canceling Black lives. And I think, to me, that's a little, more important, in my opinion. And it just keeps happening. We keep making mistakes on killing Black people. And
Mark, Doc Rivers has long been in the forefront of speaking out on social injustice issues facing Black Americans, so no surprise that he would use his voice once again. When you hear your head coach there of the 76ers, what does it say to you that he wants to speak out and use his voice?
You have to speak out, Amy, not just because he's an African-American gentleman in a game of basketball. The world needs to speak out, no matter what race you are. When you see something continuing to happen, injustices continue to happen, when will you speak out? It don't make a difference, you Black, white, or whatever you are. Speak out on what's going on. You see what happens to people that look like me, period. Speak out.
After this is how they lost. Half a second to go, DeMar DeRozan, woo, just buried it. They got to be in a bad mood after that, Mark Jackson.
Absolutely. Listen, I watched the last couple of minutes of this game. That's his third time hitting that same shot in the last 6 possessions down the floor. I'm so disappointed. I'm so interested to know why they didn't double. He was killing them. You know how we say DeMar DeRozan, DeMar the who? Well, you know who he is, don't you?
That's the smiling of a guy that did not get that double. Let's check out our storylines powered by PointsBet. And there's an exciting offer for those of you signing up in New Jersey. Head to pointsbet.com/NBC100 right now for 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Well, Saturday night, we saw the Sixers defense stifle a young Thunder squad. It was the 11th time this season the Sixers have held an opponent under 100 points. No surprise the Sixers are 11-0 in those games. Tonight, PointsBet set the odds for the Mavericks to finish between 96 and 100 points at plus 550, so a $10 bet wins $55. Mark, does defense dictate success for this Sixers team? And what do you think the key matchup is on that end of the court?
Amy, absolutely. Defense, we say the old thing wins championships, but the NBA has changed, and the level of these offensive teams is dramatically improved. But for me, the matchup is Luka. This team goes how Luka goes. If we can make it difficult for him, then we run away with this. If we let him get off, then everybody else follows. He's the ignition to this train. We got to stop this train at the next track.
Yeah, and I would imagine he's going to get a heavy dose of Ben Simmons, maybe some Matisse Thybulle in there as well, as far as the defense goes, because we showed you earlier, Ben Simmons locks him down. Well, speaking of those two, when you have Ben Simmons and Luka Doncic on the court together, you got to think a triple-double is in play for one of the guys, right? Using their exclusive name-of-bet feature, PointsBet set the odds for any player tonight to score a triple-double at plus 300. So, Mark, when you see Simmons look at Doncic specifically, look at both of those guys, how much do you expect their respective versatility to be on display with their triple-double chances?
I think that, be honest with you, Amy, I don't believe it'll be a high finish for a triple-double tonight because Luka's going to struggle versus Ben. With that being said, I think Ben has used so much energy on shutting down Luka because of his girth and his ability to play physical. Luka, it's going to wear Ben down a little bit. So I wouldn't expect big numbers from Ben tonight just because of what he has to do on the defensive end.
Get that Lonzo Ball 10-10-10 going?
Hey, I'm okay with that.
You never really.
As long as that equals up to a victory.
Right. Let's recap those storylines for you. We're going to see if the Sixers can hold the Mavs offense down tonight. A $10 bet for Dallas to score between 96 to 100 points wins $55. And using their exclusive name-a-bet feature, something you guys can use too, PointsBet created a custom wager on any player recording a triple-double in this game. At $10 bet wins $30. Those are just a couple of the hundreds of wagers available at PointsBet for every Sixers game. And if you're feeling really confident about multiple bets in tonight's game, don't forget you can combine them together using PointsBet's single game parlay feature, which could mean a much bigger payout if you get them all right. The Sixers would love to return home for Wednesday's showdown with the Brooklyn Nets on the heels of a 3-1 road trip. They can get it done with a win in Dallas tonight. Let's check in with Doc Rivers at his pregame media availability.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, the other night you were talking about Joel and the like the knee brace and kind of how it was kind of bothering him a little bit. I wanted to ask you, do you have any idea how long he's going to have to have that on?
I don't, Kai. I mean, they go back and forth on it. You know, they've probably tried 10 different ones already. I'm probably underselling that. You know, I know it's not going to be for the rest of the season. I can tell you that. I just don't know how long.
Hey, Doc. These last 20 games of the season, roughly, and you're tied with Brooklyn for first place. What is your, sort of your willingness or your risk tolerance, if you will, to, having Ben play more of the roamer role on defense versus, being locked into the number one guy on the opposing team?
It really probably depends on who we're guarding that night, who we're playing that night. I love him on the best guy, obviously. I think that's probably the best place for him, but he's a pretty good roamer as well. You obviously can't use him in both ways. And so we pick and choose. I would say we probably pick more on him being on a better player than a roamer. But, we go back and forth on it for sure.
We're a little over a little over 50 games into the trade, Josh Richardson for Seth Curry. How do you see that? Is that a win-win for both sides between Josh and your son-in-law?
Well, listen, I'm biased, but I don't really know. I know Josh has played well. I don't know what he's done for Dallas, but I know what Seth has done for us. So that's all I really care about, honestly. Seth has been great for us, and that's, what I only worry about or focus on. It was obviously a good trade for us and probably a very good trade for them as well. I think they got a lot of the things that they wanted out of it, and we got a lot of the things we want out of it.
All right, he's asked about his son-in-law, a.k.a. Seth Curry. The guy's got a name there, but, it's a question you talked about with Danny Palmel's in the warm-up, Mark. Who do you think won that trade if there was a winner?
I believe it was a winner.
Josh Richardson. Yes?
I think the 76ers won the trade. We got someone who's a perfect fit for us. Not just a shooter, but someone that can put the ball on the floor and create for himself and others. Play a little backup point guard. Richardson goes to Dallas. Mm-hmm. He's a very good He's a 3-and-D guy, but primary defensive, can slash a little bit. But he hasn't been shooting the ball like they hope to spread the floor for Luka and Porzingis. So they went and signed J.J. Redick. You got rid of shooting to kind of get more defense, but then you realize we need more shooting. Mm-hmm. Sixers won the trade by a landslide. Speaking of J.J. Redick, I heard he's out of cold storage and is available tonight for Dallas. We'll see if he makes his Dallas debut. It'll be interesting to watch. Furkan Korkmaz, meanwhile, made the most of a rare start Saturday night, having one of the best all-around games of his career. Could he force his way into this playoff rotation for the Sixers?
The Dallas Mavericks home is Bally Sports Southwest. New network, same home. We are the heart of the Mavs and the heart of the fan. Bally Sports Southwest.
Mavs Live on Bally Sports is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there.
He's an MVP candidate known for his sensational shot-making and play-making abilities. Going against Defensive Player of the Year candidate. That is a premier matchup to look forward to. That is, unless you are Doc Rivers.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to seeing Luka on any occasion, but we're playing Dallas, and Luka is, obviously one of the best players in the league, and so we have to at least try to contain him. I thought we did a fantastic job in the first game, but that was several months ago, and their team is better. We're better as well, but we have to be good tonight. That's what I'm looking forward for.
Luka had 19, just 4 assists, though, in that game. What did they do to contain him, and what's the counter move for Luka tonight?
Ben Simmons. I mean, the same reasons we start Luka at the point guard is the same reasons Philly starts Ben. They're bigger, they can see the floor, but defensively, he takes away a lot of what Luka does against smaller guards. Luka can't play bully ball, he can't post up really, and he's a taller guy, so his step back is less effective when you got somebody that's 6'9", 6'10" guarding him. So Luka's got to put him more in pick and rolls, understand when to be aggressive, and Luka's really great at drawing fouls. I think he can get in foul trouble and really take advantage from the free throw line tonight.
These are matchups that do you think he loves when it's a chess match? He's trying to find a way for Luka magic to happen against one of the best defenders.
I will say, knowing Luka like I do, he remembers the last game. He understands how bad he played. He's going to come out extremely aggressive tonight and understand that if he doesn't play well, the Mavs will not have a great chance to win the game.
Well, and when it comes to, of course, Luka playing well, we have seen a lot of amazing things here lately. This is a closer look at the game. At three career games, it's 17 points, 31% shooting. So they're obviously doing things to make life difficult for him.
I mean, they have the ability to switch with longer guys. They have a big guy in the paint, two big guys, actually, to kind of contest shots. And, Luka, the whole team, it wasn't just Luka, the whole team didn't really play well and wasn't really aggressive enough. I think that's different tonight, especially coming off the loss last night.
Well, and we talked about the fact that KP didn't play in the first game and won't be playing tonight. So he is going to be the sole focus when it comes to that defense, and they are as physical a defense as there is in the NBA.
They are, and they take pride in it. Ben Simmons, takes pride in playing defense and shutting down the opponent's best player. He did a great job the last time. And, everybody talks about his jump shot, but they don't talk about his defense enough. And his ability to get into the paint, like I said, it's no different than Luka on the other side. Obviously, without the shot making, but lives in the paint and strong and can get there at any point in time. You can't really stop him. The only thing, free throw line is probably his biggest weakness.
Well, he is certainly so active. He is so quick, so athletic, and not too shabby on the offensive end, as you can see there, especially when it comes to his work in the lane and around the rim. More coming up as we continue to talk about not only Luka and Ben Simmons, the Mavs and the Sixers' big game tonight. Seth Curry